Hi everyone, this will be a catch-up review video because of editing issues. That's why I've been quiet for so long. But hi everyone who's new, thank you for subscribing and thank you to all my regulars who've been watching my videos. It's very much appreciated and slightly alarming that some of you want to see what I'm talking about. Thank you. So I'm going to start up with The Girl the Sea Gave Back by Adrienne Young. This is a sort of companion piece to her Sky in the Deep Viking book that came out last year, I think now. I haven't actually read that, but this is set in the same world and follows one of the supporting characters from that initial book. Didn't affect me at all. I was quite happy carrying on with the story, even though I had no idea of previous events that this character had gone through. So you can read this as a standalone novel in its own right. It's very much Viking inspired themes, or the mythology is very much sort of there but in a different way, which is very, very clever. And it's told from two points of view, which is a little bit jarring to start off with, especially as it then does past flashbacks from both characters, but not in the first person voice. So it takes a little while to get your head around how the authors decide to describe certain things, but there we go. The Girl the Sea Gave Back is an enjoyable kind of finding who you are story, with magic and war and obviously, you know, what the fates tell you, kind of dig, which, you know, it's not original. You know, if fate says something's going to happen, you do actions to ensure it happens, then of course it's going to happen. But you know, that's not an original like twist on the story or anything, but the way it's told is very believable, and these characters, you know, they're coming from two very different points of view because of their background and because of how they've grown up and everything. So the idea that fate is inevitable or you can actually change your own fate is quite cool. I remember sort of enjoying it, but kind of being disappointed at the same time because there were lots of elements where I wanted more of it. I wanted more character development. I certainly wanted the romance a little bit more, because it's almost very rushed right towards the end. It really feels like shoved in for last minute reasons, which I'm not going to spoil. But it's enjoyable. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy it. It was an easy read. It was very beautiful. The world building is pretty well fleshed out. And I'm hoping there's going to be more in this world. And certainly I reckon if I read the previous book, I'm wondering if I'm going to get more out of this book because of it. So that's book 1. Book 2 is Alice. This is by Christina Henry. Do not give this to an under 14-year-old child. Wow, is this dark? It's grim. It's violent. It's disturbing. And my God, I loved it. This is an Alice in Wonderland loose retelling in a very disturbing world, but it's really, really clever. I liked Alice. She starts off very confused, very vulnerable, and she grows into this person that actually perhaps I can be more than this. I would like to have seen her grown a lot more than this she does. It's a bit rushed towards the end, and I felt at points that she was very much a plot device, which was a shame because I did like her. Hatcher, her supporting character, he's very dark, he's very monstrous at times, but actually I really liked him and I felt I knew him better than I knew Alice, even though Alice tells the story in here. The supporting characters are ranging from very mild and innocent to downright disturbing. Caterpillar, oh my gosh, yikes, just evil, yikes. Yeah, you never look at Alice in Wonderland and Disney version in the same light again. I really like Cheshire Cat, the unsettledness that he retains as his character from the original stories and retellings. He's very much an unsettling character and you don't know where he sits in the grand scheme of things. So I did like Cheshire Cat. And this certainly sets up for a sequel. Red Queen, I believe, is a follow-up. But you could read this as a standalone. The world building is pretty much throw you in at the deep end and pick it up as you're on the run with Alice. there's no kind of explanations of how this world has come to be, but then there's no explanation of how Wonderland came to be. This just is, and it's brutal as hell. But I really, really enjoyed this book. Book 3 is Lost for Words by Afia Walsh. This is a very simple contemporary story about a young 12-year-old girl who wants to save her local library from shutting down for various reasons that I'm not going to spoil. Her family is not the normal structured family, but she has some great friends. There's great representation in this book, and it's basically about standing up for what you believe is important and actually saying, I'm not going to take this. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to stake my claim for what I believe is right. I really enjoyed this book. Dallas is a very spunky teenager, well, nearly teenager. She's just about to start secondary school, learning to find her place in life, learning to cope with what's happened in her life, and sticking up for her friends and all that, and going through this transition time where she's not quite sure who she is or what she wants to be or where she wants to be in her life, but realising in the end what's important to her. Very enjoyable, nice little read. And finally, Kim Stanley Robinson's latest book, Red Moon. I'm wondering if this is going to be a similar series to his Red Mars trilogy. This is, the moon has been colonised in the fairly near future, so it's pretty realistic. It's grounded in a lot of science stuff, but it's not really like a space opera story. It's more of a political construction or deconstruction even of the situation in China and how that would affect colonizing the moon and events on Earth linked to events on the moon. And there's a lot more going on in here than you think it is. The way it ends, I feel like it's going to be a series, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's very politically based. There's a lot of mythology and feng shui stuff also tied up in here. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it actually makes a lot of sense when you start reading the book. There are some great moments on the moon. I think they're probably my favourite moments because the whole description of bouncing around in gravity and zero G and how that would affect you and your movements and everything and how you have to learn to adapt. I really enjoyed all that stuff. So the science aspect to it really sort of clicked for me a little bit. Yes, it's set in the future, so there are some liberties about how our science has progressed and how we would cope, but a lot of it is grounded in what we know now. Very enjoyable, but only for those who really like the political side. If you want more of a near future sci-fi story from Kim Stanley Robinson, I'm going to plump for New York 2140 because I think that's a more solid traditional story structure with the environmental aspects put in, whereas this one, it's the environmental stuff's all tied up with the political stuff, and it's a lot more, it's a more tangled read than straightforward A to B by C and D. So yeah, enjoyable, but not without its flaws. How's that for a 4-book quick review? I'm playing catch up because of editing issues. We lost Movie Maker, which I know is bog standard, but we really like it. It works for us. Because of the big Windows update. Yay, Microsoft! So we're currently trying with a few other programs and trying to find one that just does the job that we want. Nothing fancy. And I'm sorry, I'm not willing to pay X million dollars for a video editing program. You know, I literally use it to cut and paste. That's it. I don't need anything else. I'm not making a Hollywood movie. I'm not paying for Hollywood movies. So there we go. So if you know a good video editing program out there that we haven't tried yet, please let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, have you read any one of those 4 books? If you have, let me know which was your favourite. If you've read all of them, I'm probably going to plump with Alice purely because of the disturbing aspect, but yay, that's me. Let me know your thoughts down below on any of those books, but again, please be wary of spoilering for other people because not everybody has time to read all the books. Who does? As usual, in the description box down below, there will be a link to a small booktuber. Please go and check them out. My social media links are down there. You can come and follow me and say hi and have various madcap conversations with me. And my book blog's down there where I have more reviews of books that I've not mentioned on here due to the aforementioned editing problems we've been having. So, as always, thank you very much for watching and happy reading. Bye.